Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jose Cruz, I'm an enterprise architect, and today I'm continuing on our deployment strategies series. And today I will be addressing A/B testing as a deployment strategy. In our previous episodes, probably if you look at them, you will see deployment strategies and you think when you are hearing about them, that's okay, I'm deploying a full service or a full system. Probably it's not the case. You don't deploy everything. Usually we have several services and you deploy one at a time. But that's the usual concept that someone has, is that, okay, so I'm deploying, it means I'm upgrading the version, so I will deploy everything. But that's not true. In modern environments, you just deploy parts of your system. Why I'm saying this? Because A/B testing is not about deploying a part of your system. It's about deploying part of the business of your system. And that's what this episode differentiates from the previous ones. What we'll be talking about today is when you have a specific feature, let's say a checkout, and now you start to implement another one. And say maybe the user experience guys came to you and say, okay, I think I can increment the conversion rate of the users or the increments on selling if you change the process of checkout. But you want to prove that and not rely on opinions. Maybe you have a great marketing team, user experience persons, but you say, okay, but I want to test that. And you just, your first talk will be something like, okay, I will take a few % of the users and I will target this specific deployment. So I will deploy and I will target a specific set of users and then I will increment as it goes. But when you are thinking about that, if you check my previous episode, you are doing a kind of a Canary deployment strategy. But you are trying to target the business. So what you want is a kind of a feature flag. You want your system to have both checkout process, and you just want to choose a segment of persons. That can be a country, it can be VIP members, it can be free membership, the users that don't pay to access your website, and say, I want to test this new feature, or maybe just do some kind of a random. It depends, of course, of the business, and you should talk with probably business people to understand what is the best strategy for this case. And A/B testing, it's about that. You want to test a different feature while the old one or the legacy one or the current one is still there. So let's see first the distinction between A/B testing and Canary. What are the key distinctions between both? And if you didn't see my previous episode, which by the way was about the Canary deployment, maybe you should see it before this one so you understand better, unless you already know what is a Canary deployment. So both split traffic, but they answer completely different questions. So the Canary asks, is version 2 technical healthy? And if you remember my previous episode on Canary deployment, you choose a set of metrics that will help you to decide if the version 2 should be released or not. You can see that I'm saying version 2, not the specific business of your system. But that's why the A/B testing asks which version gets better business outcomes, conversions, revenue, and retention. And you can say, okay, but you are still talking about version. But it's not that you are releasing the old system. Maybe you are incrementing the version like the 1.0 to 1.1. You are just incrementing a little bit one of the features. And you can implement, of course, you can release the old service, or you can just use feature flag systems to say activate as a kind of a deployment for this specific feature to production. And of course, you have to find ways to route the requests to that new feature based on a criteria that we talk in a moment. So traffic is split by user attributes. This is the A/B testing. It's for a specific country. Maybe in that country, the rules are different for your website and you want to test that specific feature for that country because it makes sense on that country, but not on other countries. Or even areas like Europe, United States, Asia, sometimes the culture and data privacy is different. Sometimes you have to do changes on your business models of your application. Or maybe for specific device. You have a great backend that handle mobile, web, other services, and you did some optimizations about the mobile and you want to check just for the user on mobile if it's working or not before releasing it. So it's not like the Canary where it's randomly 5% or 20% of the users. And usually A/B testing, it runs for days to weeks because you are trying to evaluate from the business point of view if that's a good idea or not. You are not technically evaluating the deployment. You are evaluating from the business perspective. That's why usually you expect the deployment minutes or hours, depending how is it implemented, how legacy it is, how complex it is, what is the interconnection between all the components. But for the A/B testing, it can take days or weeks because you are evaluating your business. Maybe just a few days and say, okay, you have a lot of traffic going on, and you can say, okay, after 2 or 3 days, I can understand if it's a good idea or not. So the big idea is decouple deployment from release. You are not releasing a new version. You are just deploying it. You release it later if the feedback that you acquire from the A/B testing is good or not. So how traffic is routed, you can say, okay, I will implement a feature flag system. I will activate this, and now I have how to route this. Usually you can choose things like country, plan, let's say Netflix and things like that. I believe that Netflix does a lot this kind of deployment strategies using A/B testing to check new features on their platform for a specific set of users. User device, probably it's a great one for streaming companies where you say, okay, it works great on TV, it works great on web. Let me see how it works on mobile. And you just target a new feature on mobile to see if it's optimized, it consumes less traffic, data traffic, and so on. Okay, and or maybe for just recent users or old users or something like that, you choose the best attributes depending on the feature that you are testing using this A/B testing. Okay, and default for all the other users, which will be the variant A. So let's say that the variant A, it's the legacy one, it's the current one that it's working, and now the variant B is the one that you are introducing. But there are times it's just a new feature, it's a feature flag. In that case, I will create a specific video for that. It's not A/B testing, it's just feature flag because it didn't exist before. So the concept of testing A/B or A/B testing is that you have an A and you have a B. If you don't have an A, so it doesn't make sense to say testing A and B. What you will say, I will activate the feature flag, for instance, for a subset of users. But that will be the subject probably of my next video about it. So all users will hit the router on your website, your application. Let's say, for instance, that you are targeting 50% to the variant A and 50% for the variant B. Maybe it's your criteria. It's not a specific attribute. You just say, I will put 50-50. I will use a kind of take the latest digit of the IP that is connecting to my website, and if it's odd, it goes one place. If it's even, it goes to another place. That it is as good as any other criteria, of course, dependent on the business scenario that you are testing. Now you should check the results. You have to find a way to collect these results. That's why something that I didn't address yet in my videos is how good is your code to be monitored. It's a kind of, people sometimes don't think about that, but your code should be developed in a way that is monitoring-driven development. It should be able to be simple to monitor what's happening in your code, what's happening in your website. Usually people use SDKs like observability to help, but check if you can in advance when you are developing if the code is ready. And when I say the code is ready, sometimes you have to split the methods and the classes or whatever is the language to find a way to allow this type of observability and monitoring, because you want to check the conversion rate if it's business, the average order value. Okay, this one is just analytics you can get from the results. If the people in a checkout just stop in the middle, maybe there's something wrong with the checkout, and so on, and how much time that they spend to doing the checkout. Now you have a variant B, the one that you are introducing you. So this is your A, this is your B, and when you activate the B for this subset of users, 50% or 5%, or people for a specific country, you say, okay, there was an increment on the conversion rate. Of course, if there is probably there are some correlation between these variables here. If there are more conversion rate, probably you will have bigger average order values. Of course, if there are bigger average order values, probably the people didn't left the cart abandoned, and of course, and that's because probably your checkout it's taking half the time. And you can just use these metrics that you collect during the days or the weeks, and then you'll take a decision and you check if the B continues to be like this. So I say probably I will switch to the variant B. So the variant B will win, just ship it. Okay. So let's see again the difference between Canary and A/B testing in a high high-level terms, but again, I invite you to check my previous video. So the primary question about Canary, if you want to differentiate between both, so the primary question is the Canary release is V2 technical healthy? So that's why I use technical parts. Most of the metrics are technical, of course. You should check also the business, so you don't have some kind of a breaking on the system. The A/B testing, which version works better for users, not the deployment system, not about HTTP calls, not about if everything goes to the end, the conversion rate and so on. The split method, usually Canary, it's a random percentage of the users, or maybe there are some subscription. If you check my video, I usually I provide you different ways to split. It's not only random. For instance, I remember that Chrome, you could subscribe the Canary release probably in advance. I know I don't remember how many weeks, but you could download and use. You can be the user of the Canary testing, and then Google will decide if it moves on or not for that version to be released. The A/B testing is about rule-based user attributes or cohorts. Duration minutes to hours. Usually, if you are deploying the system, it can take, for other projects, it can take days also. It will be the evaluation. But usually, if you are deploying the whole system, it's just minutes to hours. And A/B testing, it's days to weeks because you are evaluating business. Regarding the metrics, you are checking technical metrics, mainly on the Canary. On the A/B testing, of course, it's about business. You want to check if the conversion rate is increased, what are the revenue, the rotation of the users, and so on. Decision criteria, thresholds and alerts. You just look into the technical results and you say, okay, it's good to go. I don't see any breaking changes. I don't see any deviation of the baseline or what I expect from these metrics. A/B test is statistical significance, meaning statistically regarding the users that I'm targeting with this B variant, is my business at least the same as the previous or better? Otherwise, if it's lower, you would decide to not ship this new feature. And user stickiness and infrastructure, of course, they are different ways. But one that I want to highlight here is in A/B testing. Usually use feature flag systems because you are not deploying the old system, you are trying new features on the system, and it's commonly used. The common use is to use feature flag systems. Of course, there are always trade-offs. I think it's one of the mottos of my website. As an architect, everything is a trade-off. There is no right deployment strategy. There is not such thing in architecture as saying this is the right approach. The only thing that you can say it's the best approach when I consider the advantages and disadvantages. And the secret for you to be a great architect or DevOps is to ask the right questions, is to gather all the information about the context and check, okay, I have all these pros and cons, let me decide what is the best way to go. It's not the right way, but for the information that you can collect, it will be, considering every variable that you have, it will be the path to go that will minimize as much as possible the risks, or at least it will follow the most important concepts that were established for your product. So advantages for the A/B testing, business-driven decisions, and it's really important. Most modern companies prefer A/B testing deployment over others. And if you check their websites and some articles on the internet, you'll see that they use this one because they are interested in the business. It's not only about technical. Of course, first you have to implement a good technical infrastructure, a good technical architecture that can support, of course, the A/B testing. Then another event, you can target segments for specific experiments. You can experiment for a particular set of people, particular set of device, particular country or region, and so on and so on. Okay. The user stickiness, consistent experience during the experiment, meaning the users that will be targeted by the A/B testing will stick to this new version, and you can observe if they like it or not, and you can gather feedback from it. It's the couple deploy from release. It means that you are putting features without releasing, let's say, because you are not deploying the old system, you're just activating features on your system. So there's a big difference here between deploy and release. You deploy this new feature, but you don't release it unless it is really okay. Then what it means, you can say, but what does that mean? It means that if you release, you have to remove the other one, the A. If you release the B, you want to remove the A. That's the release. The deploy, you just deploy the B. So you have A and B. And now when you do release, you remove the A. That's what it means to decouple deploy from release. Okay, and it's usually if you are implementing using feature flags, it's easy to roll back because you just toggle the flag off and you don't need to redeploy. It doesn't appear anymore. It is as simple as that. Of course, the disadvantages requires a feature flag system, so you have to implement and design your application to support it. You can have multiple testing problems because it's like you have you are testing the same functionality in different places of your code. It can be tricky to integrate this well on the tests. Both versions run simultaneously, so you have two code paths to maintain, so they are related somehow. Disadvantages: novelty effect, users behave differently with a new UI initial, and it will be awkward that they will, if you decide not to release, now they return to the previous one. So it's you should find a way to at least explain to the users, or maybe put something on your, if it is a website, put something on your website, but try to at least inform them that, okay, this is experimental, it's safe, but it's experimental somehow. Maybe the word experimental is not a good idea because it seems that it's kind of a brittle and can break at any time. Maybe you should ask to the user experience team what better words you can use for that. Maybe a new feature, you are testing a new feature or something like that, but I will avoid things like testing and experiment on the words. And this is it happens more than people think. It's flag depth risk, meaning that you deployed the B, but you don't know how to remove the A. Sometimes it happens if the application was not designed earlier. And there are a lot of these problems in architecture. When you want to remove a system, you always have the question, who is using it? And how can I be sure that it will not break something if I just remove it? Mainly in legacy systems. If you design the system from the beginning to support this kind of features, great. But if you are introducing this on your system on legacy code, sometimes it's difficult for you to understand how to remove that. So this is what I wanted to talk about. This is just code. You can pause and check it. They're with using a framework called Launch Darkly. But feature flags are not explained here, but I usually have this part here just for you to understand how it works if you use some framework to do it. But this one is using Node.js. So this is what I want to talk to you about, the A/B testing. I hope it was useful for you. You understood it, and mainly you understood the difference between A/B testing and Canary, and what is the big advantage of A/B testing. And I just left you these two words: A/B testing, business; Canary, technical things. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you continue to on my channel, share it with your friends, subscribe, left some comments. I will appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I expect you to see you on my next video.